Happy summer, Mayor.
Indeed. Beautiful morning.
Yeah, first full day of summer today.
Which means the days start to get shorter, right, after today?
I'm afraid so.
Hate to be a pessimist, but
Well, it is true, unfortunately, but it takes a little while. Let's not rush
that's
things.
right. That's right.
How was your long holiday weekend?
It was fine. Not too many events, and got some yard work done, relaxation, a little reading. It was a good weekend.
Very good.
How about you?
Very nice, thank you. Had some time on the Outer Cape. It's very
Nice.
getting busy down there now this time of year for sure.
Sure.
But the water's still quite chilly.
Yeah, we haven't had the heat to heat it up.
That's right. Not complaining, mind you, but
Nor am I.
it also is also signaling the start of summer as the last scheduled meeting of the Quincy City Council this evening. And I know that the district improvement financing appropriation is back on the agenda. And I know you've talked about it in the past, but I
but I,
always think it's worth talking about again.
no, absolutely, and I appreciate the work of Chuck Phelan, the Finance Committee, and the Planning Department and Municipal Finance teams who I thought did a terrific presentation at the last committee meeting with all the detail and backup. The whole DIF has become a model in Massachusetts for the way we've used it. We're on DIF number 4, and just to remind our listeners, essentially it's district improvement financing, which allows us to take the new taxes and new growth taxes out of the district, meaning the Quincy Center area, and pledge those back into the district for infrastructure improvements. And we've been very successful at that. I mean, just look at Kilroy Square and the Kilroy Garage that was done with DIF monies. A number of the improvements around the center, infrastructure stuff you don't see, water mains and sewer mains and underground infrastructure that's necessary because we're an old city. I mean, a lot of that's been done by the DIF. In this one, we're proposing some additional property takings, which I know we've talked about for a long time. Some people act like it's news, but these things have been in the master plan for years. So I think it's just a continuation of implementing the master plan that we started some 15 years ago. So again, it's not the first time we've used the DIF. It's number 4. It's been very successful. This piece calls for the taking of some buildings on Hancock Street. The old Tasso's Pizza, which we've talked about, was burnt out over probably close to 25 years ago. It's flipped ownership 2 or 3 times, I think. They've done nothing with it. It's our intention to take it and essentially flip it to a designated developer. Back in the heart of Quincy Center, taking some two buildings. If you come in from the north, heading south on Hancock, on the right-hand side, the Taekwondo yellow building and the donut shop on the right, those 2 buildings would be taken. Now, as part of that project, to the left of that taking will be a new 15-story building with residential and retail, and to the right will be a new 7-story building with residential workspace, 2-story restaurant, and in between will be a beautiful new pocket park, which we've been successful at throughout the square. Both buildings will have restaurants that will spill into that beautiful park area, creating the nice cafe seating which people enjoy. We talk about these things, and Europe's been doing them for hundreds of years, and so they're not really new, but they work. They're proven. So, and then of course the IHOP over on the corner of Hannon Parkway and Bergen Parkway, that is the site for a future garage. We're going to need additional parking as we build out that side of Quincy Center, and we are working with the state and our partners at the federal government to see what kind of state and federal monies are out there to handle paying for the construction of the garage, at least the bulk of it. So that piece of land would be very valuable to us for the purpose of parking, because as we build out the square and including the Performing Arts Center, we're going to need places for people to park. So a lot of the improvements have been done underground, as I mentioned, Joe. I mean, people have been critical of the bridge to Ware, McConville Way, Dunford Drive. They now set the stage for what will be new buildings throughout that area in the Quincy Center, just as planned. And it will fit in nicely once we get it rolling. It will be in the ground with the Foxtrot building sometime. They're already excavating, so sometime next month with foundation. So things are progressing very, very well. So I'm hopeful the council sees the wisdom in the next phase of the DIF proposal before them tonight, and I'm hopeful we can get that passed.
Is the IHOP property part of this diff?
It is.
It is. Oh, okay. That's very good. And the plans there are for a city-owned garage,
That's correct.
much like the Kilroy Square garage.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably additional spaces. The Kilroy is about 712 spaces. We're looking at 1,000 to 1,200 for this garage.
Okay. And then there is also another garage planned by Foxrock for their development?
That's correct.
Wow.
So the other side of the bridge is part of their 240,000 square foot building. They're building I think it's just under 500 parking space garage for their development on that side.
Okay. So, I mean, as you know, that is one of the major issues in downtown Quincy is parking. So it sounds like this will address that for the long term.
Well, it will. Absolutely. That was always the plan, to build out a number of garages to deal with the need. I mean, the Kilroy, there's still capacity in there, but it's nearing full capacity. So that's worked out very well.
Also, tonight there's the capital improvement plan appropriation for $7 million for public building improvements. I wonder if you might explain a little bit about what that would be for, Mayor.
Well, we have 80 municipal buildings, Joe. I know that people drive by, they see City Hall, or the library, maybe a school or two, but when you add everything up that we have between schools and firehouses and police station, libraries and the branches, park and rec facilities, I mean, on and on, we have a responsibility to maintain those. And the last several years, we brought the standard up dramatically, particularly in the school buildings. When we took office, the school buildings were in tough shape. And as you know, we've talked about it on the show, we've done windows and roofs and pointing and all kinds of upgrades in the school buildings, bathrooms, and getting rid of asbestos and redoing floors. I mean, on and on. And, we got to continue to do that. These are public assets, they're capital assets that need to be maintained. So this will continue to do that. We've got some old buildings great old buildings, but they constantly need work and upgrades. Just like at the house, when we do work at our homes, it's no different, except it's magnified by 1,000. So this will continue to get work done, maintain the buildings going forward, and I hope the council sees the wisdom in that.
And this would be bonded out over how many years, Mayor?
I don't know off the top of my head, Joe.
Okay.
I don't know if it's 15 to 20. 30 is the max. 30 is usually when you buy property or you build a brand new building. But when you're doing other repairs, it's far less than that.
I see. Very good. Mayor, also beginning today, the MBTA is starting to make some changes to their service after a federal review found they were understaffed, mostly in their operations center. I know you were, of course, on the chair of the advisory board, so how do you feel about what's going on at the T?
Well, as you know, as chair of the advisory board, I've been appointed to the board of directors of the MBTA, so I'm certainly aware of the details of what's going on, and I fielded a lot of calls and have a lot of discussions with people, and I want to say this, that for decades, the MBTA capital budget was ignored, the capital needs was ignored, and a governor after governor just didn't touch the MBTA. They wanted no part of it. And so, this is the oldest subway system in the country. The Red Line, Park Street, I think, was the first station. So, you can't continue to ignore those needs, just as we just talked about the capital needs in some of the buildings. Well, it's no different for a transportation system, multimodal transportation system. So I know that the T under this governor has been playing catch-up the last several years and spending literally billions in the system, but you can't turn a cruise ship overnight. And this takes time. And unfortunately, we've had a number of safety incidents that have occurred over the last, at least a year. And the Federal Transportation did come in and look at things and have made recommendations. And the T's taken a hard look at everything. I think Steve Povtak is the best general manager we've had in literally decades. He's paying attention. He works very hard. These things happen, and it's unfortunate, but I know the priority, at least of the board, and I believe of the general manager and the staff, is safety first. Safety of the employees and safety of the passengers. So it's going to take time to get this thing worked through, but, a lot of improvements have been made, really systemic issues over the T for decades are being dealt with. And of course now, like every other business, we're challenged with filling positions. We've got more than 200 bus driver jobs open, Joe, that we're trying to fill, offering bonuses and so forth. I mean, 10 years ago, you couldn't get one of those jobs. There was a line, there was a lotteries being held for those jobs. So it's remarkable with the economy the way it is, how it affects. People don't think about it, but it's affecting our public transportation system as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, here in Quincy, we've seen improvements to all the stations except Quincy Center, and I know that's on the agenda.
It is on the agenda. We're working on that. And yes, we've seen great improvements on the switching systems, and the new cars will be arriving soon. They had some issues with the first ones out of manufacturing, but once those get regularly rolling, I think that'll make a huge difference as well. And of course, we're going to electric buses with the new bus facility on Bergen Parkway. So there's been huge commitments made, and we're making progress, but it's going to take a little longer to get where we need to be.
Yeah. Any update on the purchase of the old garage on Hancock Street?
No, until the other one's further along.
Mm-hmm.
We've already had discussions with the T about it, with the state about it, and certainly the city has expressed interest. The state has expressed interest in assisting the city get that property. So, but the devil's always in the details.
Yeah.
There's some issues on the property there with pollution over the years. We got to make sure everything is squared away. So it's going to take a little time, but I'm still confident that's what will happen.
Very good. Appreciate your time as always, Mayor. Great to talk to you.
You as well. Enjoy the day, Joe.
Thank you. You too.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch, our weekly City Hall update here on AM Quincy.